Alright, I just recently watched this new movie called The Stranger in the Woods. I was luckily sent this from writer and director Joseph Gallet. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. This is an 80-minute movie. It was made in 2024. This is a found footage movie. It begins with a young woman who is in her 20s. She's taken a class. She is trying to complete her exam project, and it is to record an interview with a man that lives in the countryside. He lives far out in the rural area. He has a huge farmhouse, and she is the sole one responsible for filming this interview. There's no other crew, no other friends. It's just her and this man. So, right off the bat, I liked this movie because it didn't have any jump scares. There was nothing over the top about it. It had really good production values that you don't always find in independent movies. It had really good cinematography, and for being a found footage movie, you had really good footage. You had, little crackles and static here and there, but it doesn't have the hallmarks of a typical found footage movie where, you can't see anything in the dark, or you can't really focus on anything because the camera is blurry or out of focus or shaky, and that's just not the case here. They took really good care to have a really good production value for this type of movie. I was not familiar with both of the stars of the movie, but I really liked our main character. She's a young woman in her 20s, and she's not obnoxious like typical characters are in horror movies or found footage movies. And right off the bat, she's just very likable. She's down to earth. She's no nonsense. And I really like that about her. And you do get a decent build up of both of these people kind of firing off each other, getting to know each other as she films this project for her exam class. We do get a little bit of back and forth as she talks to her grandma over the phone and whatnot. But aside from that, there's not a lot of distractions in this movie. This isn't your typical, slasher in the woods. And that's what I really liked about it. That it wasn't your typical, slasher in the woods with partying teens and whatnot. It was really its own thing. And I just really liked that the sound production was really good too. It was very clear. And I appreciated that, the other production values in it were really nice too. And this is not a very long watch. It's 80 minutes long. It doesn't feel like it's overstayed its welcome. And I just liked that it was different from other found footage movies. It wasn't the usual cliche that you find in some of these movies. When she's driving to this place, you really realize how off the beaten path it is. It's way far off on the country. You have really this beautiful house that her interview subject lives in. The sets were really nice. They looked like they were lived in they looked like a real house. It's not like when you watch certain horror movies and you think, okay, that's not a real place. That's just a clean, sterile set for the movie. I just really liked watching this movie unravel. It doesn't start off like these typical found footage type movies. It had an original story, and I really liked both characters as they got to know each other through this interview process for the project. So I'm not going to spoil any of the plot. It gives you just enough plot as she gets to this place to do her exam video, and it kind of got my wheels turning. I thought, okay, how is this going to turn out? What is this going to be about? Because you really don't get any plot line besides this young lady trying to complete her senior project for a final exam film. So I really like this. Really liked both actors. Really liked the production values for this found footage type movie. You don't always get the greatest sound design, the greatest cinematography, and I'm happy to say, that wasn't the point here. It had good production values. It had good sound design. It had nice cinematography, and I thought it had a good and decent plot for this type of movie. I was graciously given this screener from Joseph Gallet. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. So I would definitely keep this movie on your radar. Maybe check out his other works. So I'm going to wrap this up. This was A Stranger in the Woods from Joseph Gallet. Really enjoyed it. I hope that it'll be released soon on different platforms, so you can give it a watch as well. And definitely keep him and the cast on your radar. So I'm going to wrap this up, and thanks for watching, guys. Really enjoyed watching this, and thank you again for sending me this screener. And that's it for now. I'll catch you guys on the flip side, and thanks for watching. Bye.